Can I increase premiums in my IUL if I have more money? Welcome, my name is Daniel McCluskey. I have paid a lot of money to have access to and train under some of the industry's best when it comes to structuring index universal life policies. So today we are going to be answering this question in one of three scenarios. One is going to be if you are already max funding the policy, which hopefully you are. Two is going to be if you're not max funding the policy. And three is going to be if you haven't actually started the policy yet, but you are going to be expecting to run into more money in the future. So first, if you are already contributing your TAMRA or your 7-pay or your MEC premium, the answer is going to be no. So you will have a guideline single premium. Let's say in this case, that's $1 million. You will have a TAMRA premium. That's how much you can put in each year until you get to your guideline single premium. Let's say it's $200,000. And then you have a guideline annual premium, that's the GAP. Let's say that is $100,000. So as mentioned, if you are putting in that $200,000, the TAMRA premium, you are not going to be able to contribute anymore. However, a lot of people just contribute the guideline annual premium, in this case, the $100,000, and then you ran into more money. You could actually increase it to the TAMRA premium until you reach the guideline single premium, until later on reverting back to the guideline annual premium. So very simply, if you're just putting in the guideline annual premium and it's early into the policy years, you will be able to increase it. If you're putting in the TAMRA premium, you are not going to be able to increase it. If you did have a lot more money and you really were wanting to put more in this case, you would just open another policy. This is what most people do. Some people end up with more than 10 policies over the course of their life. Each time they get more money, they're opening another one. But the key thing here, and what's actually really smart about this, is you don't want to create a bucket for more money than you know that you can put in. So just because you might run into a settlement or might run into an inheritance in the next 5 years or so, it doesn't mean you need to make a bunch of room in the early years for that. You can if it's more certain, but you want to make sure that when you're setting the size of your IUL policy, you're always going to be setting it with a pretty conservative amount that you can for sure get in there. Second is if you are not max funding the policy yet, can you increase it? Simple answer to this is yes. Of course, if the guideline annual premium is $100,000 and you're putting in $50,000 a year, well, of course, you could raise that up to the guideline annual premium. And then just like we had mentioned before, you could then raise that up to the TAMRA premium. So if you're not max funding, this is probably because it was either structured wrong or you didn't get good enough education in the beginning. Make sure you are max funding your policy. And then third is if you are expecting more money to come in the future, so like we mentioned with the settlement or getting an inheritance, if you would like to apply for a policy and create room for money you are expecting to get fairly soon, you can always do that in the beginning and then catch up later. So that TAMRA premium in the example we used of $200,000, that's how much you can put in each year until you get to the million. But if you miss 1 or 2 years, you can actually make that up later. So if your TAMRA premium was the $200,000 and you could only put in $50,000 for the first 2 years, but you knew you were going to run into another $800,000 in an inheritance in a couple years, you could open a policy like that so that when you get the inheritance, boom, you can move it over really quickly. In general, again, you want to be careful with this. You want to make sure, yes, you do want to prepare for the future. Having a bucket size that's bigger than what you can put in right now is a good thing if you know that's for sure going to be there, but let's always be conservative because we can always open another policy later. The only thing that we might run into is if we become uninsurable, but in that case, maybe we could use a surrogate or someone else to be the insured and we could be the owner. That's pretty much it. Hopefully this was helpful. If you are trying to kind of gauge the bucket size of what your guideline single premium should actually be for an IUL policy, based on kind of some future money that might come in, it's not always that easy. Always feel free to book a free 20-minute consult with myself down below. I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, subscribe and I will see you in a future video. Bye-bye.